Hi, Facebook friends. I hope you're doing well. It's Tuesday, and I am going to talk a little bit about some questions that you should be talking to or asking a realtor. My name is Rachel Mooney, and I'm with the Mooney Group, and I'm with ERA Sunrise Realty. You're going to want to get a pen for this, maybe a pad, something to write these questions down on. They're just 5 quick questions that I think that you should really ask any realtor. So if you're interested in buying a home or selling a home within the next several years, you're going to want to make sure that you ask these questions. We go on a lot of interviews every day. We're interviewing either with sellers or buyers, and some people ask these questions. Most do not ask these questions. So it's really good information. So again, you're going to want to make sure you have something to write down on. Obviously, you can always call or text or email me if you have a need for some additional questions. But these are the questions that I feel like everybody should ask if you are looking to work with a realtor. So first, let me say this. This is when an agent is going on an interview with a seller or a buyer. It is, in turn, we are interviewing you as well. So if I'm sitting with a seller, I am also interviewing the seller to make sure that I actually want to work with them and getting their home sold. Or if I'm working with a buyer or sitting with a buyer, I want to make sure that I want to actually work with them as well. So it is a twofold. It's not necessarily you as being the buyer or seller interviewing the agent as much as it is the agent as well as interviewing you to see if you're a good fit to work with. Most relationships, especially on dealing with a contract, is a minimum of 30 to 45 days. That is a minimum. That's if we put the house on the market and we get it right under contract and we go to closing very, very quickly, it's a minimum of 45 days. Most relationships that we have with our clients can go anywhere from 3, 4, 5, 6 months to a year, depending on how large the transaction is. Obviously, your clients for life with us once we close a transaction, but we have to make sure it's a very good relationship for both parties. It is a team relationship is kind of what I call it. So some of the questions that you're going to want to make sure you ask. One of my favorite questions that I like to make sure people ask is, are you a full-time or part-time realtor? This is a very transitional industry. We have a lot of people coming into our marketplace that have done or are doing other things, and that is okay, but it's really important that you as the customer or client know and understand if your agent that you're working with is full-time in the business or if they're part-time and if they have something else they're doing normal business hours. A lot of times agents will work with teams if they're working another business, and that's okay because they have a team member or someone on the team that can actually pick up the file and take it and run during normal business hours if needed. So it's really important that you ask that question. Are you a full-time or part-time agent? And another great question I like to ask is, are you a realtor or are you a real estate agent? A lot of people don't understand that there's 2 different things. A realtor is completely different than a real estate agent. A realtor, we are backed by NAR, National Association of Realtors. We have a code of ethics of the way we run our business, and we write our contracts on GAR contracts. Those are the Georgia contracts that were written by attorneys to help protect our clients, buyers and sellers through transactions. So it's really important to know if you're actually a realtor or working with a realtor or are they a real estate agent, because there's two different types out there. And so I really think that's an important question to ask. Another question that I think is really important to ask is, how many homes have you sold within the year? This is kind of a 2 or 3 part question. Number 1, how many homes have you sold? And then out of the homes you've sold, what is your list to sell ratio? Meaning your list price is $300,000, but what is the percentage of it actually going under contract and getting it sold for $300,000? Is that percentage a little bit less? Is it a 95% list to sell ratio? Or is it a 100% list to sell ratio? Or is it an 80% list to sell ratio? What this tells you as a general seller is, you might be talking to someone that wants to price property really high, and they're going to be coming to you for price reductions month over month because they can't get the property sold. So it's really important to ask that question: is what is your list to sell ratio? How many homes have you sold? And then what are your average days on market as well? Again, if you're talking to somebody who is going to throw out the highest price out there, let's say, for an example, let's say I'm sitting with a seller and the average home in the neighborhood sells for $300,000, and I tell the seller, we're going to sell and list your home for $400,000 because I know I'm in competition with other agents. I'm trying to just entice you by telling you you're going to get it for $400,000, and then a month from now we're still sitting here having this conversation. The house isn't sold, so I'm asking you for price reduction after price reduction after price reduction. And number one, that looks terrible, but there are agents that actually do that. They'll go and they'll just throw the highest price out there because they're trying to win the listing, and that obviously hurts everybody in the industry. It hurts the seller because the seller is not going to be able to move as quickly as they're wanting to. They're asking for price reductions. So it's really important when you're asking the agent what is their list to sell ratio, what is their average days on market, because that will tell you a lot about the agent that's sitting in front of you and what their plan is to get the home sold. With that, another question I'd like to ask is, what are you doing to get the home sold that's different? Every agent out there, every company out there is going to put your home in the multiple listing service, right? Here in Atlanta, we have FMLS and Georgia MLS. If we're in Athens, you have Navica. If you are south of Atlanta, you might have another service. Or if you're north of Atlanta, you have the North Georgia MLS, right? There's all these different multiple listing services that your home will go in. In Metro Atlanta, we're going to put it in the FMLS and Georgia MLS. From there, it fans out to about 70,000 different other sites on the web, including Realtor.com, Trulia, Zillow, all the big companies that you would expect or the big sites that you would expect your listing to be out on. Every agent's going to do that for you. Every company is going to do that for you. But what is it that agent's going to do differently to get your home sold? Do they have an aggressive marketing plan? Do they have it lined out for you what's going to happen within the next 30 days of you putting a sign in the yard? What are they going to do for you? Is it open houses, agent luncheons? Is it an aggressive social media marketing plan? Do they have an ISA that does circle prospecting? What is that's going to make them a little bit different that as you as a seller, you're looking for, right? We don't want to we have a saying in the industry, you put a sign in the yard and you pray, right? Sometimes that works, right? You just put the sign in the yard, you get lucky, you get a buyer. But there has to be something that's going to stand out a little bit different for your agent to market and get the home sold. So as a seller, that would be another question I would ask. So far we've covered how long have you been in the business, and are you a full-time or part-time agent? What are your ratios as far as listing to sell? What is your average marketing time? What are you doing differently for getting the home sold than not any just general agent's going to do? And then one other question that I love are, and I have this quite a bit, some people will say, where are your reviews? Where can I find you online? Where are your client and customer testimonials? I think that's very important for every agent to have a Google page, right? Where you can just Google your name or your website and you can see the stars, your ratings from all of the people that have worked with you. Most agents have this. And it's important that you see that and you see exactly what other people are telling you. Agents will share that as well. We'll share it if it's good information or bad information. We should all share that with our clients that we're working with so that they understand who we are. That I think is very important. So those are the 5 questions that I would ask if I was a seller or a buyer, is these general questions, just to find out a little bit more about who it is that I'm working with. Again, we are all independent contractors. We all do something different. We all have different personalities. We all have a different outlook on the way that we do business. And it's important for you to find that right agent to work with that has that same belief or the same integrity that you have, the same empathy that you might have, especially if you have a client or a customer that's dealing with some really hard times. You want to make sure that your agent is understanding to that and helping you through the entire process. This is your biggest transaction, right? we're helping you either buy or sell one of your biggest assets that you will ever have. And so it's very important that you find the agent that works right with you and for you and has your best interest. So I hope that you found this information helpful. Again, these are questions that you can ask either if you're working with someone on the buy side or the sell side, but it's very important that you get to know who your agent is and finding out how they do business. So I hope you found the information helpful. If we can help you with anything, especially here in Forsyth County, Cherokee County, we're here to help you. Feel free to take a look at our website, which is rachelmooney.com, or you can always call or text us. So have a great day, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.